Hi guys, in today's review we'll be on a Rails of Sheffield / Dapol locomotive, and this is, like I said, an exclusive to Rails of Sheffield. And this is the Southeastern Chatham MAUNSELL D1 class. The product code for this is 4S-028-001. The running number of the locomotive, which is on the tender, is 735. It is in the Southeastern Chatham Wartime Grey, which I make it Era 2, and it was released June 2023. I picked this one up in a sale. A friend of mine bought it for me, and from here it looks like quite a lovely model. I think it's my only one I have in a Wartime Grey livery at the time of recording. So let's get into the review and see what it's all about, shall we, and see if it's any good. So with the model you do get a detail bag in a resealable bag, and you also get a owner's manual. The owner's manual is quite thick, it's 23 pages in all. I'll just pick out the main ones for me and anyone that does analog running basically. So on page 2 and 3 you get your content and your history of the MAUNSELL D1 class. It's always nice when they add a little bit of history to the model. Not too sure if it's the exact model that I have or just a general overall of models. Page 4 and 5 you get the specs of the model. So it says here metal die-cast chassis and boiler, die-cast wheels, motion and rods. It can't do second radius, it has sprung buffers, pickups from the LOCO driving wheels and tender wheels, brass bearings, which is a good touch. DC ready, it's an X18 if you want to do it. It's a toolless DC and speaker fitting. It has a push fit LOCO and tender connection, and there's other stuff as well, including a flickering firebox as well. Then on the page next to it, like I said on page 5, it tells you a quick start basically, and it has a little code down below. If it's blue, it's hints and tips. If it's yellow, it's a caution, means take care and perform this step when you're performing this step. And then red is warning, it's a risk to damaging or may exist or something like that, that's what it says. And it tells you about unboxing it as well. Then page 6 and 7 is operation and what to do, how to run it in, and also about your DC fitting. Maintenance tells you what to use, how many hours you should lube it up for or after use. It tells you how to do this with a 3D picture with a few warning issues on the style of lubrication of oils you should or should not use. And it also says do not over oil, this may cause damage. Then on the next page it's accessories and attaching the tender because it's a push fit one. There on the next 2 pages. And then you have how to install a DC chip. Again, it's you take off the smokebox door with the special tool and you just pull out the board. I can never do that, so I'm just going to show this photo. And then it's all about DC fitting and speakers and stuff like that, which doesn't concern me. That goes on for quite a while. Then from page 19 to 23, it's all about your warranty. And there is quite a lot of hoops you have to jump through reading this. There's like 15 different hoops you have to jump through rules. If it's a certain product that's wrong with it, then you have to send it back to the shop instead of the manufacturer. But if this is wrong with it, it goes back to the manufacturer. Something about modifying it as well, and how Dapol can refuse to fix your model as well. There's loads of other stuff you have to jump through. It is a ball ache if I'm honest with you. So let's talk about the accessories you get in the bag. So you get the tool to open the door and pull out the board for the DCC stuff. Again, like I said, I can never do that, but it's nice they've added it. And you also get vacuum pipes, and where to add it tells you where to add them. You also get guard irons. Some of this stuff is in here painted, I think some of it's silver as well. You also get the footplate doors, which go onto the side of the locomotive, which mine are not anywhere in the bag at all. So as we move on to the front of the locomotive, like the book said, it does have metal sprung buffers, and the buffers themselves are round. Like I said before, they are a little bit pointless in double O if you're using them pockets, but if you're using free-link couplings, they're fine, but they are a bit pointless in my opinion, sprung buffers. The guard irons that are in the detail bag, we do have an M pocket and coupler already applied to this model. We have the buffer beam and buffer shanks, I believe they are, in red. The buffer shanks themselves do have 4 rivets on them. screw into place to the buffers in real life. We have the correct font and lettering for this locomotive. The number of the locomotive is 735. And in the centre of all that, we do have, I think, a white hook applied. Again, I think it's a metal piece. Then just above that, we do have I think it's a vac pipe or a steam pipe applied to the model. As we move on up, we do have the usual 3 lamp irons in the usual places. There's no rivets on the running board, it's pretty smooth. And again, I think this is a die-cast piece. If you look closely at the side, you can see some, I think, lubrication pots or sanding pots on the side of the neck of the boiler. We have no smoke box door, which I believe is correct. Where it opens up, we do have a handle. We also have a grab handle at the top, just above the small handle that you open the door with. The door, like I said, is a separately applied piece because you have to take that off to pull out the DCC board. Around the edge of the smoke box door, you can see some riveting going on. Then right at the top, we have another separately applied lamp iron. And going around the door itself, there is some clips by the looks of it as well to keep the door in place in real life. And then we have the separately applied chimney at the top. As we now move on to the side of the locomotive, there is some differences on both sides of this locomotive. Round the other side, I believe we do have a steam pipe and some grab rails along the boiler, along with some washout plugs as well, which you expect. There also looks to be around there is the reversing rod, which I think is silver, it's like a square shape. I believe that is round that side. I could be wrong, please correct me if I'm wrong. And I believe there is a Westinghouse pump or some style of pump around there as well, which looks to be a separately applied part. So round this side, we do have a printed on builder's plate on the neck of the locomotive. Again, around that neck of the locomotive, you can see some piping going inside the locomotive. You can also see the lubrication pots I mentioned earlier that are gold. If we move down just a little bit, you can see I think a sanding pot and a hand grab. Again, that hand grab looks to be separately applied. If you look inside, you can see the motion. It doesn't move, but it's nicely picked out in there, and I think it's correct as well. On this side is some piping going up to the boiler. Again, that is painted correct as well. The running plate and the boiler is both die cast. This is the rebuild of the South East and Chatham D-Class by MAUNSELL. As you can tell, we do have bell pair firebox. We also have some washout plugs, some piping as well. There is no steam pipe around here. Along the boiler, there is just a hand grab, and it is in the wartime grey from the South East and Chatham. As we move on down to the wheels themselves, like the book says, they are die cast. On the front bogie, there is some details and rivets on there, which is a nice touch. We also have metal rod. We have brake shoes, sanding pipes, and all that good stuff down there too. The axles of the wheels have all been painted in the correct colour, so this is grey. In my opinion, the wheels have turned out pretty well, if I'm honest with you. And between the front bogie and the driving wheels, we do have a step on both sides. If we move towards the cab area, yes, we do have a step to the cab. We also have the whole cab in grey. There is South East and Chatham on the side of the cab. You can just about see it, hopefully like a good photo of that. And above that we have a tiny grab handle. Then we have a handle going up the side of the cab. And there's a little hole for the crew to lean out of. And then we come to the roof. Aside from where I can't see many rivets, which is correct. Now we move on to the part of the review. In a modern day model, the most you'll look forward to is the detail in the cab and what features does it have. Like most models this day and age, it is highly detailed. Yes, it does have a flickering firebox or a glow on analog. It's not too bright, it's not too dim, it looks perfectly fine. Again, I do think it's a little bit of a gimmick. I'm not a fan of these flickering fireboxes because it's something else that can go wrong. So inside the cab, everything is painted correctly. We do have some glazing in there. We also have some dials at the top. There's 3 in total that I can see, and they all have like numbers on, I believe, and they are all looking correct. The pipework is in copper or gold. There's the regulator, there's the reversing handle which goes round, I believe. There is no acrylic looking water in the water gauges, I think it's painted white. The back head of it all is cream. We do have, I think, wooden seats in there, looks like boxes. There also could be some wood flooring as well. Like I said, everything in there is painted correctly. There's also a handle. If you were actually in a real loco, you could shut the doors to the fire. They're all painted correctly. I'm no expert, but to me it looks absolutely fine. Then down below, we do have the push fit connection, and I think this is the male side of it. Again, I will show you how to do that later on in the detail part. If we move along to the tender, the front of the tender itself has, down below, has the female part, I believe, if I've got my facts correct. I've had no issues with these in the past from Dapol. I think this does have the foreplate between loco and tender that moves on the tender. There is some picked out stuff here, so we have some stuff in grey. We also have some handles at the side. We have, I think, there's a water scoop handle or something that's picked out in silver. I'm not too sure myself. There is also a little chute with no coal in it, but it's a little chute. We have cupboards, we have locks. Like I said, there's a few things picked out. I believe one of mine does have a massive paint chip though, but it doesn't bother me when the loco and tender is connected. You ain't really going to see it. This model doesn't have sprung buffers on the inside of the tender like some locomotives. So now we move on to the side of the tender. Both sides of the tender to me are exactly the same. So by looks at it, we do have separate applied doors at the end of the tender where the cab is, but there's no doors for the cab, which is a bit of a letdown. They're missing. As you can tell, like all of the locomotives, this is in the wartime grey, and it has the number on the tender, which is unusual because normally on the tender you get the company lettering or branding, and this is 735. Again, it's all in grey. We have a grab handle at the end of the tender as well. There's no rivets as far as I'm aware here. Down below we do have steps at either end of the tender. We also have in black the axles, the springs and supports. They're all in black down there, and I believe we have metal wheels as well. Not too sure if it's my eyesight, but I believe the middle wheel is more towards the beginning of the tender than the end. It's just off centre. Not sure if that's correct or it's just my eyesight. I thought I'd mention it anyway. And it does have metal wheels, which we'll go into in a minute. So now we move on to the back of the tender. And much like the front, it does have metal sprung buffers and they are round. I believe we do have some guard lines at the back here. We also have the NEM pocket and coupler already applied. The buffer beam and buffer shanks, they are in red. There's 4 rivets on the buffer shanks. There's also, I believe, a hole for some of your detail packs on the buffer beam. We do have, which looks to be a separate applied hook. Mine could be a little screw width, but I'm not bothered. We have a steam pipe or vac pipe as well applied. Again, it's all in black. As we move on up, this tender is not a flush tender. It sits back just a little bit. And on there, we do have 3 lamp irons, again, separately applied. They are in black. We do have some handrails or hand grabs at the side. I believe they are metal part. There's no lining. Again, it's all in grey. We have 2 steps going up on the left side and then one in the centre. And we have 2 more lamp irons again, either side of them steps. They look to be separately applied. Again, they are in grey, not black. Then right at the top, we just have a lonesome lamp iron. The top of the tender does slightly curve out a little bit, and there's a few rivets on there as well. As we now take a look at top of the tender. Top of the tender mostly is in grey where it's painted. Matches the rest of the livery. We do have some rivets going around the outside, and like I said, there is a lamp iron at the top in line with the water filler cap. The water filler cap, as far as I'm aware, is a separate applied part. I think it has a screw down there if I've got my facts correct. If not, I'm sorry. It also looks the part as well. As we move along to the coal load itself doesn't look too bad if I'm honest with you. Sadly, I could not, whatever I tried, could not get mine to come out, so I don't know what's under there. I'm just guessing it's a grey chute. And I believe the coal load is plastic. Again, we do have some metal coal rails supporting it just a little bit higher from the outside. And then we come to the fireman's tools at the end. So now as we do a top view down of the locomotive itself, let's start in the usual places, which is the cab roof. The cab roof itself is in black. I believe it has a rain strip just near the end where the drivers and crew would be. As we move across just a little bit, we do have a plastic whistle, which looks quite good from a 3-foot view. And then we have some safety valves in black as well. You can also see the glazing from here as well to go with it. Again, looks quite good. From this top-down view, you can see the steam pipes, the grab handles on the boiler, and a few washout plugs too. And where the safety valves are, you can see the Belpaire firebox is like a square. I believe the dome is separately applied. The boiler itself is metal. Again, it's in grey, but if you look closely, you can see where the lining may be if it was going to be lined. You can also see the running board as well, which has no rivets on it. Again, that is a die-cast piece. As we move towards the chimney itself is a separately applied part. All around there is quite a lot of rivets. It also looks like it could be a superheater to the boiler. And then we come to the buffers themselves. So now we're doing an underneath look at the locomotive. As you can tell, all the wheels are metal, like I said, and they are die cast. We do indeed have a NEM pocket at the front, which is great. The front bogie does not pick up power. It literally is from the 4 driving wheels on the locomotive. Then it's the 6 tender wheels that pick up, so that's 5 either side. As you see here, you can see the motion from this side. That is fantastic. Again, are you going to see it when it's going around from that view? Probably not, but you will see it between the boiler and frames, which is correct. It does indeed have sanding pipes and brake shoes and brake pads that all line up, and they are separately applied, and it looks the part. And I believe the brake shoes do line up with the wheels along with the sanding pipes. We do have bearings, you can just about see them. It also has pickup wipers as well to the 4 driving wheels. Again, they go up. They're not in their usual place like Backman or Hornbit do. They go up. Indeed, you do have to take off the brake rigging that's already applied to the model. I ain't going to do that. And again, I think it's 4 screws to take off the base keeper plate. And I believe it's the 2nd driving wheel that's geared, going by the photos. But underneath is highly detailed. So to put the loco and tender together, it should be a push fit. What I will say is no excuse for me. I am heavy-handed. I do have some illnesses that make me heavy-handed, but I'll give it a go. So like I said, it should just be a simple push fit like that. And again, it comes away and back. Pretty simple. I quite like it. And as you just saw, yes, it is a push fit and it is quite easy to do. And it does look quite smart going from loco to tender. I do quite like it. Speaking of the tender wheel, yes, all 6 of the wheels do pick up, but they're right at the top of the wheels, and that, in my opinion, and from what I felt, is making the tender wheels pretty stiff, like the handbrakes are on or the brakes are on permanently. They may need a little bit of adjusting. I believe it's 4 screws to take off the top of the tender to get in to do your sound and stuff like that, because I think where the speaker is. We also have some cylinders in here, not too sure what they are for, but I'm guessing it is correct. We also have the brake rigging applied to the model. At the end, we do have an NEM pocket, but this one is a kinematic, I believe, and it's quite loose. It's not getting stuck at any point. Again, it's a good way to do the coupling. It's not in one place, so if you're on the bend, it's going to stay on the track, which is perfect. And like I said, we do have all metal wheels on the tender. And at the end, we have the buff beam as well with the buffers. So yeah, guys, that's it on the tracks. Next will be the usual second radius and points test that I do to all my locos in the review. So here goes, shall we? .30, not bad. It does struggle with them tender pickups. They are pretty stiff. And backwards, yeah, a little bit slower, but it's making these points. Again, just around the 30. So yeah, I'm quite impressed by that. It can do second radius and it did the points wonderful. A little bit slow going backwards. That's because of the tender pickups at the top of the wheels. Not a fan of that. So next it will be some slow speed and I'll find it a train to pull. So here goes. Again, 30-ish. Pretty well. I quite like it. Just a shame about the tender pickups. So yeah guys, that's the end of the running session and the review on this Dapol Rails of Sheffield MAUNSELL D1 class. Before I give my opinion and price, I'll tell you what it was pulling, which were some Southern pre-grouping rolling stock. I know it's a passenger locomotive, but I haven't got any South East and Chatham coaches. So we had, all of them were South East and Chatham bar one. One was the Kernow London Brighton South Coast Railway, just to add to the train with 2 brake vans. So price before the opinion. So a friend got me this because I'm banned, as you know, and I got it in the Easter sale they had. And the Easter sale had 15% off the actual asking price, so it was £169.95, and that was for a limited time only. But if you buy it now, if Rails has still got it in stock, you are talking just shy of £200 for a 440 locomotive. To put that in context, the newly announced Midland Railway 438 class by Rapido from a model shop is going to cost you £183.99. So it's not far off the asking price. I'm guessing Rails have put their own commission on it because it's their exclusive. I get that. Remember, this does have a die-cast boiler and running plate. So, opinion on the model. For me, this is tons better than the South East and Chatham D-Class that Rails and Dapol did. It doesn't have any traction tyres. It can pull a reasonably fine train. I only have 2 gripes with it, if I'm honest with you, and that was the booklet says that it would come with cab doors, and there wasn't any. So I'm unsure if it's just a generic book. And the other one is the tender wheels are stiff, like I said. Sometimes the middle tender wheels don't go round at all, they're that stiff, and during the running session you could hear the motor buzzing. I don't know why Dapol didn't go with wiper pickups for the tender. It would have made it easier for us to clean it when we come to servicing the model. It's going to be a ball ache to clean them ones, because at the top of the wheels. I did manage to get the locomotive by itself to go around my track, and it was doing it around 12 on the Gauge Master Combi. So yeah, there's quite a lot of drag in the tender. There, my only two gripes really was no doors and why no wiper pickups in the tender. But overall, it is a stunning model. Would I say it's worth the money that I paid? Just. It does look the part, it is heavy, and it's quite nice in this wartime grey livery. I understand that Dapol have tooled up for different variants of the class. So I think there's 2 chimneys, 3 domes, I think different cab size or cab tenders as well, along with some separately applied parts to the locomotive depending on which version you get. Is this Dapol's best model? No, but it's close. Like I said, it's tons better than the D-Class they did. And this doesn't have any traction tyres at all, not even in the detail bag, so that's a thumbs up from me. I am a sucker for pre-grouping locomotive and rolling stocks. If you really want one, I'd wait for another sale to turn up, or maybe find 1 or 2 floating around in the second-hand market on eBay and stuff like that, would be my opinion. So that was my review on the Dapol / Rails of Sheffield South East and Chatham Railway D1 class, MAUNSELL D1 class. Hope you find this review useful. Hopefully I'll see you in the next one, so please take care and goodbye.